Hi everyone, so today is going to be part 2 of my Q&A. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, click on Campbell's Tank and it will take you over there. But if not, this is just continuing on from my Q&A. So this is the last 28 questions of my Q&A. So let's get to it. So what fish are in your 20 gallon? I have some tiger barbs in my 20 gallon and I actually have 8 to be exact. Have you ever considered owning hermit crabs? Yes and no. When I was looking for the frogs, actually, that is when I saw the hermit crabs and I was like, maybe I should give them a try. And I do see a couple people on YouTube that I watch regularly. They have hermit crabs and I do think they're cute, but at the same time, it's like, maybe I'm more towards fish. So it's not something I'd want to jump into right now, but I don't think I'd get them anytime in the future, but I'm not ruling them out completely for my entire life. Has your hobby ever taken a hit? There's a couple times that I've lost interest. And I've never lost interest completely. I mean, I'll always love fish, but there were just a few times where I was feeling a little discouraged, or sometimes I was feeling just overwhelmed, I guess. And I also took a hit one time when I was suffering a lot of loss at once, and that was actually just recently, which is why my videos were so spotty, because after I did my update video, like after that, all my fish started dying, and I just wasn't in the mood to film or upload. But basically, I lost a guppy, I lost over 6 frogs, I lost a betta, and that one that you never even saw, he never even made it to YouTube. I lost a lot of fish and frogs and pets all in a span of a week, pretty much, and it was just coming really hard on me and I didn't really feel like uploading. So that is another time my hobby took a hit, and that was a really long answer and I'm sorry. Now, will you ever do a saltwater tank? I'm gonna have to say no. They are a ton of work. They almost need constant maintenance, like every day, sometimes 20 to 30 minutes a day on your tank. Everything has to be exact. They're not as forgiving as tropical tanks, and although they're quite beautiful, sometimes they're just very hard, and also it's quite expensive to run a fish tank. It is very expensive. My dad used to have a saltwater tank years ago, and it was very beautiful, but he stopped doing it because it was a lot of work and it was so expensive. And that is kind of where I'm coming from. And also, I scuba dive, so I see all those beautiful saltwater fish in their natural habitat. So sometimes I feel like, oh, I don't need to put them in a tank when I could just hop on a plane and go see them in their natural habitat. So that's another thing that is kind of like my personal thoughts, that I prefer to see them in the ocean since I have the opportunity to. Now, what is your first name? My first name is Sydney. Now, what made you start the fish hobby? Just my love for fish, basically. Like I said, I was a scuba diver, I love swimming, I love everything to do with water, and fish were included in that. So I just think they're really cute, I think they're peaceful as well to watch, and so that is why I started the fish hobby, to have some fish with me all the time. If you could have any fish in the world, what would it be? That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the parrotfish. We saw them a lot on our trip to Grand Cayman, and I think they're kind of cool, so I'm gonna go with the parrotfish. Do you know who your first subscriber was? It was actually my mom. I made my channel and she subscribed to me right away because she's so nice. Hi, Mom. So basically, yeah, it was my mom. That was my first subscriber. What do you love most about your fish? I'm gonna go with their peacefulness. I really like watching them, how they swim around. They're just, I guess some people would say it's like their personality or something, but I would say probably just, I like how they swim around and I find it kind of relaxing, so. What kinds of fish would you like to get in the future? Again, neon tetras would be nice. I like bala sharks too. What else do I like? Angelfish. Angelfish are pretty. And like, it would be really fun to get one of those green spotted puffers. I could buy them, but again, I don't know much about brackish, and they need brackish water, and I don't want to kill them. So I would probably say I'd wait on those, but it would be really nice to get some of those in the future. What was your original method of picking out bettas, and has it changed since you became more educated in betta care? I guess I would just always start off to see with the one that was active in the cup, that had bright colors, that its fins were intact. And I don't think it's really changed, because before I went for it because it was more aesthetically pleasing, and now I choose it because I know it's healthy, but in the end it ends up me picking up the same fish. So I would say it hasn't really changed. What fish I picked out hasn't really changed, but the reason has, if that makes sense. Are you going to do an update on the tiger barbs? Eventually, yes, I'd hope to. I'm not really sure what to update them on at the moment. So if you have any video ideas for what I should do on an update, like what I should talk about in my update, leave them down in the comments below, and then I will try to do that. Have you thought about getting goldfish or any other cold water fish? I have looked at goldfish, and I think they're cool. I really like those fancy goldfish as well, so I would maybe get them, but I don't know if I'd want a whole tank for just a big goldfish, because they actually need like a huge tank, so I would say probably not. Will you ever upgrade your plants from live ones? This is a question I get a lot, not just in my Q&A, about why I use plastic plants instead of live, and overall I just like plastic plants better because I think they're more aesthetically pleasing, which is technically wrong. But this tank right here is live planted, and I really like it. They're easier to clean, so that's nice, but I found that a lot of them died. The only time I ever have success with live plants is right here, when there is a window right there. So it's right in front of the window, so it gets a lot of light, and therefore it does grow quite well. But when I've had live plants in other tanks, they've always died. So I think that if I have a tank that's in front of a window, then sure, I'll get some live plants. But if I don't, then I won't. What's your favorite animal outside of fish? Probably either a penguin or a duck. I can't choose between those two, but I really like the look of them. And apparently some people have ducks as pets, and if you're one of them, I'm jealous of you. But yeah, so my favorite animals are ducks or penguins. Now, what keeps you inspired to make videos? I find that my audience really helps me keep inspired, because I know how much you guys love my videos, and I like to upload videos for you, and I like to educate you. I also know that my videos, even ones that I don't upload now, videos that I uploaded over a year ago, they still have lots of response to them, and that's great to see. And so I always like to make more videos so that I can continue that on for as long as I can. Now, what is your dream fish? And I'm assuming that this is kind of like a pet that I can actually get, and so I'm going to say probably like a green spotted puffer for that one. How old were you when you started in the hobby? It was 2013, so that was about 4 years ago. So I'm going to say I was probably 14 or 15, and that is when I got my first betta glub glub. Do you find watching your fish relaxing? Yes, I do, very much so. I just like the way they swim around. They're so peaceful. They're such peaceful animals. And yeah, I would say I'm going to answer yeah to that question. Yes, I do find them relaxing to watch. Can we see your dogs in more videos? Sure. Give me some video ideas of what to do in the comments below, and I'll definitely try to do them. Here's a clip of my dog right now. Right now it's winter, so they don't go outside and play outside as much because it is cold. So all they really do is go for a walk. So I could do a video taking them for a walk. That's a thing I could do if you like. But yeah, I can try to get some in the more videos. Who is your oldest pet, and how long have you had them? Technically speaking, my dog, the one that I just showed you in the clip, he's 14. He is 14 years old, and we adopted him last November. So we've had him for about a year and a bit, and when we got him, he was 13. So right now, he's 14 years old, so technically he's the oldest pet, but he's the family pet. So as far as my pet individually, it is Horatio, who is in the other room, and I've had him for about a year and a half now, and he turns 2 in May. What is your dream tank? Probably a neon tetra school. I'm gonna go with a school of neon tetras, and maybe live planted with like driftwood and everything, so like a really natural looking neon tetra tank. How many total bettas do you want in all? I would probably say maybe about 3 or 4. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, I have about 4, and I think that's a perfect amount for me. Do you have a favorite betta? If you mean tail type, my favorite betta is probably Half Moon, but if you mean like my bettas personally, my favorite would probably be Horatio. Who are your favorite YouTubers? I can't even really answer that question because I pretty much watch, if I'm subscribed to you, I will watch you. I generally watch a lot of the videos that I see. in my subscription box, and I wouldn't say I really have a favorite. I like to go in all areas of YouTube. I can go from like fish to the weird side of YouTube in like 5 minutes. So I pretty much watch a lot of people, so I can't really say if I have a favorite or not, but yeah. I pretty much live on Netflix too. When I'm not on YouTube, I live on Netflix. What heater did you use when you had your 1 gallons? I used a National Geographic 10 watt submersible heater, and that one was technically for tanks 2.5 to 5 gallons, but it worked perfectly in my 1 gallons, and so I used it. I think they discontinued it though, because I can't find it anywhere. What fish would I recommend to someone excluding bettas? And what tank size? I would say probably guppies. Guppies are another one of those hardy fish that a lot of people begin with and they seem to have good success with. So I would say probably a guppy, and then I would aim between maybe like 5 to 10 gallons for your first tank. But of course tank size is always debatable. There's a lot of different opinions on that, so maybe don't take just my opinion, but I would say a good fish to start would be guppies. Are you going to get a tropical tank one day? I hope so. When I first got a betta fish, what was my initial reaction, tank, and setup? When I first got my first betta, that was on December 30th, 2013, and that was my betta glub glub. And basically, I was so happy. I mean, it was my first pet, technically, so I'd never had a fish that was my own before, so he was like my first pet ever. So there's always that excitement that you can't get after your first fish. And he was in a 1 gallon that was unfiltered and unheated, I know. I was uneducated at the time. So that was that, but he had a pretty nice 1 gallon. It had, like, I always bought him the nicest ornaments and the holiday ornaments, so he was a spoiled fish in a 1 gallon unheated, unfiltered tank. So like, as good as that could get, he had it. But yeah, so I was really happy to have him. Why don't you make videos very often? I try to, I really do. Last 2 weeks were because, you know, a lot of fish had died and I just been feeling discouraged. And I was also sick in there too, so I didn't upload a lot the last 2 weeks. Now why I only make a video once a week is partly because I want to make sure that I don't run out of ideas by uploading once a day. And also, since I do go to college, I am quite busy sometimes, and sometimes I want to stick to a schedule, and so to make sure that I stick to a schedule, I want to make them far apart. And I say that now like I actually stick to my schedules. But yeah. What was your first fish? It was a betta named Glub Glub. It was a blue veil tail. Who is the oldest of your current bettas? Again, Horatio. Do you like guppies? Yeah, I do. They're pretty. And I have 2. I have them in here, and they are females, and I know that sounds like a bad setup, but they're getting along quite nicely, so right now they're not dying, so I'm not messing with it. So I have 2 females in there, 1 black one and 1 yellow one, which I showed you earlier, but I will show you again right now. Do you have any siblings? Yes, I do. I have an older sister named Samantha, and basically she has a YouTube channel too. She does a lot of planner videos, the Happy Planner, so if you want to check out her video, I will put the thing right here and her Instagram right above it. So make sure you check her out. And she is 22, and she just turned 22 on the 28th of February actually. When are we going to see a video about the frogs? I can try my best to get some done. I do have some footage that I filmed of the frogs when they were alive, but right now I don't have any, and I don't really want to give care videos when I accidentally killed them all, just because I don't know if it was me or something. So I don't want to like make a video saying this is how you take care of them and then yours die too. So I will try my best, but we shall see. How long do you wait to clean your tanks? It depends on the size of the tank. I try to do my 5 gallons around once every week and a half, and I usually do my 20 gallon every like 2 weeks around that, and that seems to work out. Now I do have to remove some algae off the side of the tanks with a sponge. Why did you choose tiger barbs? A big part of it had to do with the fact that my family had tiger barbs growing up. They really liked them. It was probably one of my dad's favorite fish, and my mom really liked them as well. And so I kind of always grew up having tiger barbs, so it kind of seemed like a rite of passage to have some tiger barbs in my tank, which is silly as that sounds. But I also really like how active they are. They're always in the front, they school together, they move around, they're darting in and out of plants. They're just very active fish. This has to do with their aggression, which is, like, you can't put anything with them, which is a little unfortunate, but overall I really like them, and I think they're, I really just like their activity level, and yeah, I feel like it's a family tradition to have tiger barbs or something. Now, the last question, is what live bear would you like to have the most of? And I haven't really looked much into live bears, and because of that, I don't really intend to breed them that much, but because I have some guppies, I'm going to go with guppies because I like guppies. So yeah, that is what I'm going to say. So that was the last question of part 2. So that was a total of 56 questions that I got for my Q&A. So I got a wonderful amount of participation. I'm really happy to see that. So now I'm going to hopefully get back to my weekly videos, maybe even twice a week now that I'm kind of back into the routine of filming and stuff like that. And yeah, but thanks again for participating in my Q&A, and I will see you next time. Bye!